Hi, it's me, Erin, from the Saranac Clarksville District Library, and today we are going to do some chunky arm knitting as part of our 2020-2021 Fall and Winter Adult Programming. So I will be using my instructions, which should be in your bag, along with a ball of yarn. We'll do half the video like this, and then I'll do a close-up of what my arms are doing so you can follow along. And then we'll end with a video like this as well. Okay, so first you're going to need your bundle of thick yarn. We chose this kind just so it's easier to learn on and to see. There's not a lot of different threads. So what you'll want to do is unwind that ball of yarn, the tight one that's in your bag, into a pile like this. And then because of how we will be arm knitting, you're going to want to put the pile to your right. Right, and take the end. So you're going to want to start with one end like this. All right, and then we're going to tie a slip knot. And then we are going to start knitting. We're going to cast on, and then we're going to go back and forth on our arms. So I am going to switch the video to an overhead view so you can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So the first thing we will do is to make a slip knot. So we're going to loop our yarn. So take the working end, which is this giant pile of yarn. So take the working end of your yarn in one hand, and leaving a tail that's about 1 foot long, we are going to loop our yarn so the working end is over the tail. Put our hand through that loop and grab our working yarn and then pull it through. So we want to leave foot here. So then we're just going to tighten that. So that's perfect because you want to leave enough in, enough of a tail that you can weave it in after. So we're going to do that. All right, so then you have your slip knot. So now we are going to cast on. So to cast on, you are going to put your hand, so I put it so the working yarn is here and your tail is here. And then put your left hand through the hole and slip the yarn up over your hand and tighten it onto your wrist. So we're going to want the tail over here under our arm, and then the working yarn is this guy, and that's going to be out. So you want it kind of tight. It is going to be sliding up your arm as you make stitches, so if your arm's a little thicker, like mine gets a little thick, you want to kind of see like that and say, okay, so that's as wide as I want it. I'm going to tighten it a little bit just so the stitches stay. All right, so with our tail back here, we are going to make 10 cast-ons, and you want to make sure that all your stitches are the same right here on your wrist. So to do that, you're going to take, and just like the slip knot, you're going to go over, and then put your hand over and through, and then right there on your wrist like that. So we'll do 10 of these together. So take your yarn, take it, and then loop it over, and then flip and through. So over and through. All right, so that's casting on. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. All right, so my pile is getting a little tangled, so we'll untangle that. So hide your tail there. So over and through, And then it'll slide up your arm as you go. So over and through, and then pull it tight. And over and through, pull it tight. You just want to make sure that they all look nice and the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do 10 quick. 8, 9. Ooh, my yarn is getting twisted. And then one more, 10. So let's count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and if that was too fast, you can always pause the video. So now that we've cast on our 10 stitches, it should look like this on your arm. Try to make sure they're all even. Mine get a little loose because I was going fast. Just tighten them all so they're the same. All right, and then now we are going to knit. So take your tail and hide that. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna knit onto our right arm. So take your working yarn. So we're gonna rotate our hand down like this. Take your working yarn, which is attached to your giant pile of yarn, and you're gonna put it up over your thumb like that, and then grab it in your hand loosely, just like that. So I'll sometimes tuck that down just like that over your thumb, and then you're going to pull this first loop down and over, okay? And then we're gonna do like it's like a hat stitch. I forget what it's called, but to get that effect, you're gonna take your right hand and put it through your thumb loop the same way, and then ta-da! So then you're gonna take your working yarn and make sure it's tight around your right wrist, and then so you're kind of close here with your hands. Keep them close so you don't stretch your stitches out. And then we're gonna loop our thumb again, grab it, and then pull this yarn over, and then put our hand the same way our thumb is going and onto the other arm. Right? And then we're gonna pull our yarn. So we're just gonna keep doing that for 10 stitches. So through, grab, over, through. Okay. So I'm pulling out my working yarn here. Okay. We don't want them so tight on your right arm that you can't get them up. If you have really skinny arms, that's nice, but for those of us who are a little fluffier, we want to leave them a little looser. So your hat like this, over your thumb, grab, pull over, and then through. And I've done a lot of practice blankets for you guys so I can get this right, so I'm going a little fast, but there are detailed instructions, which I am using, and you can pause the video. So, over your thumb, into your hand, over, and then through, and then over, through, all right, and then over, and then through. I like to stop and make sure they're all getting up on my wrist properly. Get a little tight if you go fast. So then over and through. Okay, and then our last, run out of yarn. And our last one, our slip knot, and then through. So let's tighten that. And this So there it is on my right arm. Make sure they're all the same tightness. All right. So, yeah. And so then we're going to put it back onto our left hand. So it's just the same, but backwards. All right. So with our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stitches, all right, we're going to take our working yarn over our thumb, grab it, over, and then put our hand through. And there's our first stitch. So then I think it's kind of easier this way because you can kind of grab it and then twist it over. And then through. And do it like that. And then over and twist it through. So we're going to do 10 of those. And the closer you keep your hands, the tighter your stitches will be. And if you mess up or lose a stitch, you can always just frog it, which means just undo it all. That is fine. It's practice, so you can always just do one practice first and then just, see how it turns out. Let's see, so that, and then through, and then grab it, over, through, grab it, and over, and then through. So there we go. It is back on my left. Ooh, I made those a little tight, so they're not fitting on my arm too well. Okay, so you're going to want to keep doing that back and forth from arm to arm until you have about, I would say about 5 feet left so you can cast off. So I am going to keep arm knitting and we will come right back when I'm done and I will show you how to cast off. Okay, so here is my throw blanket. It's a small size, but it's cute. So there's my knit. I'm not very good, so brand new, first time, So it looks good. I like it. It's homemade. It's going to be cozy, perfect for a lap. So I have my stitches on my left hand. You can end on your right, whichever is easier for you. And then I have about, a few feet, 5 or so of yarn left to cast off with. So I have this little pile of yarn left to cast off. Let me get that so you can see. So to cast off, what you'll do is you'll knit 2 stitches like normal. All right, put that yarn so you can see. But when you're done, you're just going to take this first loop and pull it up over the second loop. All right, so then like that. And then we're going to knit and then pull down that first loop again. So there should only be 1 loop on your wrist when you're done, right? All right, so let's do the rest. So we're gonna put it over the thumb, loop, put it through and over. So loop, over, and then remember we're going through the same direction as your thumb. All right. Make sure I'll probably miss a, oh gosh. There we go, look at that, I got ahead of myself. And you can just undo stuff quick if you do that. The yarn is big enough that you can kind of see what you've been doing. So 2 and then over, and then knit through and then over. And then when you have your last loop, we're going to take our tail and just grab it and pull it through your last stitch and then kind of tighten it. So we're going to take this tail. So there's your nice, actually looks really nice. I dropped a couple, but you know. So you can finesse it. So there's your cast off, which looks pretty good. Ooh, I'm kind of proud of myself, actually. Huh. So there we go. You can kind of see my stitches as we go. They're unique, and I think that's fine. So as I went, I got tighter and tighter, so you can see the weave is loose, and then it gets tighter as we go. It's just a, first time knitter thing. But I'm actually pretty proud of this. So to weave in our ends, so here is the end we started with. So you're gonna flip your blanket over to the wrong side, the bumpy side. Take your loop and then just go through the loops and kind of knit it in. It's really chunky, so it might show. If you can sew, I might put a couple stitches, on the back of one so you can't see it. But let's see here. So let's put that one through there. And then I'll put that through there so you can see how it's in there. So I do have a needle and thread at home, so I'll probably just take this little end and tuck it underneath and maybe put a couple stitches there. But that's not necessary because you flip it over and it's a little heavy and you have a nice blanket. So now we have a finished throw, a little lap blanket. That's how mine looks. It's not too big, but I think it's the perfect size. You can always, I will include the Amazon link for the yarn if you want to buy another ball and make it bigger, or you can always do like a Google search and find some nice like merino. This was mostly just to learn, but I think it's cute. So there's our cast off and there's our cast on. I think it's a really nice little craft. All right, so again, I'm Erin at the Saranac Clarksville District Library, and thanks for joining me for a video on chunky arm knitting from the Saranac Clarksville District Library as part of our 2020-2021 Fall and Winter Adult Programming. Bye!